that the CDC has made some changes to their developmental milestone checklists. If you are confused, you are not alone. For the first time since they were developed in 2004, the CDC milestones have changed. That is nearly 2 decades. And we've got all the need to know about these new changes here for you today, and exactly what you need to do now as a parent. All of that and a whole ton of information is coming up right now. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Carnahan fam. We are incredibly passionate about child development, about being intentional parents in an environment where they can thrive. So that is what we focus our channel on, intentional, positive parenting. So if you're new here, consider hitting subscribe and the, what's that thing called? Notification bell. The notification bell down below. We actually have an entire developmental milestone series for your baby and activities that you can do with your baby to help them reach those milestones. And wow, if you have seen one of those videos before, that phrase is like in your ears, right? Developmental milestones and activities that you can do with your child to help them meet those milestones. Anyway, if for some reason you're here and you haven't seen it yet, you'll probably want to check that out. Back to the CDC Milestone Changes. Okay, you guys get this. Developmental milestones, they hold this kind of like joy and fear for parents all at the same time. Even moms like me, I mean, we have the thoughts, are they meeting their milestones? Are they behind? Are they doing okay? Am I doing enough? All of these thoughts that we have as parents stem from the idea of, is your baby where they should be? Developmental milestones in general serve as a way for us to be able to track our baby's development, to inform parents who might not otherwise know where their baby should be developmentally. All right, let's get into it, starting with the why. Why were these changes made? What prompted the CDC milestones to change? You may have heard the claims going around that the CDC quietly changed their standards because of these little beauties. Yeah, the masks, COVID, being stuck inside for 2 years, and that our babies are now developmentally lagging because of it. Now, we're not here to talk about the politics around COVID, masking, all of those things, but I will clarify for you that the anti-mask agenda just isn't supported with the evidence here. Not only is it misleading and just simply not true, but it also misrepresents the CDC's intentions with making these milestone changes. Okay, that's the myth, that's the rumor, and that's not true. So let's talk about what is true. Why did the CDC change their milestone checklists? Well, first off, the overall purpose was always to help to identify children who might be at risk for developmental delays or disabilities so that they could be evaluated early and be given early intervention or otherwise additional support at an age where it would be most effective. That was the goal when it was created in 2004. That was the goal. It just wasn't quite doing it. Kids were getting missed, which means they weren't getting the services that they needed to be able to fill that developmental gap. And they're hoping that with this change, both parents and physicians will be able to see more clearly that if a baby is not meeting the developmental milestone, now this warrants more developmental screenings at this point. No more wait and see, no more let's feel it out in a couple more months. The CDC is actually hoping that by making this change, more children with developmental delays or disabilities will be identified sooner and given the opportunity to receive that early intervention during the critical time. That was a lot of why. Now let's get into exactly what was changed, because I'm gonna tell you, it was a lot. Now this is where the big change happens. Where you may have heard the CDC lowered the standards, they didn't lower the standards. They shifted the standard from an average mindset to a majority mindset. So now all of the milestones are placed at the 75% mark. 75% of babies have achieved this developmental milestone by this age, rather than the average 50%. It's the 75% most of the babies, rather than the 50% average baby. Do you see the difference there? It's way more clear for parents and physicians to know what they can expect from the majority of babies, not 50% of babies. Well, in the 2004 model, only half of the babies were doing it. And so you would read that milestone, you'd freak out a little bit, and then if you brought it up to your pediatrician, what would they say? Wait and see. Let's wait and see till their next appointment. Let's wait 3 months or 6 months, whatever frame of time. All babies grow at different rates. Let's wait and see. So by shifting the developmental milestones from what 50% of babies can do to what 75% of babies can do, the CDC is trying to get away from that wait and see response. Now this warrants more developmental screenings at this point. Another very notable difference for the CDC's revised milestones is that they went ahead and added a 15-month-old and 30-month-old checklist. Now, if you want to look at it by the numbers, I like numbers. I'm a numbers kind of gal, and if you want to look at it by the numbers, here are some of the key numbers that contributed to the CDC Milestone Changes. Previously, in the 2004 version of the CDC Milestones, there were 216 milestones across 10 different checklists. Now they've added 2 more checklists, giving us 12 total checklists, but they have reduced the total milestones to 159 milestones. That brings our average number of milestones on each checklist from 22 in the 2004 version down to just 13 milestones on average per checklist. And get this, this is the number that blew my mind the most. More than half, 56.5%, in case you're wondering, percent of the original milestones were completely eliminated. That leaves us with just 94 milestones that were originally in the checklists, but of those remaining 94 milestones, 67.7 of them were moved up. But honestly, that's not surprising actually at all when you're moving the marker from 50% to 75%. And the last number here for you is of all the developmental milestones in the new 2022 revised CDC Milestones checklist, is that 40.9% of them, which is 65 total, are brand new. And then finally, another what that was changed is that they removed some of the vague terms, trying to clarify and simplify the wording of the milestones themselves. Such as previously in the 2004 version, baby begins to pass an object from one hand to another was previously listed in the 6-month developmental milestone checklist. Begins to being the vague and kind of messy word there. And that milestone is now moved from the 6-month checklist to the 9-month checklist, and the verbiage is more clear. Baby moves things from one hand to another. Honestly, way more clear. All right, we've talked about why the CDC changed their developmental milestone checklist. We've talked about what the changes actually were. Now let's get into the concerns and the hype and all the things that we're hearing about the changes that were made to the developmental milestone checklists. Now, despite all of the changes that were made and the intentions for hopefully it to accomplish their goals a little bit better, there are still some concerns, especially from the early intervention professionals and most specifically from the speech-language pathologists. And even as I myself have extensively reviewed these changes that were made, I have some personal concerns as a parent as well. Let's talk about those. Starting with the concerns from the speech-language pathologists. Specifically, I love the Informed SLP, and she shared a very thorough review of the speech and language milestones, or the communication milestones, that were published from the CDC's new milestone guidelines. And unfortunately, the updated milestones don't quite align with current evidence of where a child should be developmentally regarding these speech and language milestones. This is rightfully a huge concern for speech-language pathologists, so much so in fact that the American Speech and Language and Hearing Association, ASHA, actually reached out and voiced their concerns to the CDC. ASHA represents over 200,000 speech and language pathologists and scientists around the country, and by reaching out to CDC, voicing their concerns about the inconsistencies between the newly published milestones and what the current evidence shows, they're hoping that they can work on some better revision. And as of now, the jury is out. There is no resolution for the inconsistencies between the evidence that the speech and language pathology community have come to with the CDC and their updated milestones. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming months we do see some more evidence-based revisions come from this conversation. But as a parent and educator and developmental specialist myself, and my husband being in the medical field, I have some concerns of my own. Number one, the change itself I feel like is kind of misleading. Did parents really know that at their children's well child check, when they get the little questionnaire to fill out and check off the milestones their child has achieved, Did they really know that only 50% of the children would be achieving the milestones at that time? I don't think so. I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think the general consensus and what I hear most often is that children of that age should have accomplished the milestones by that moment. So when the typical parent sees that walking has been moved from 12 months to 18 months, it does look like the milestones have been pushed back. Now, if you maintain this mentality and you go to your pediatrician at 18 months and your child is not quite walking yet, and we still have this we'll wait and see vibe, and my kids have always been fine before, and there's continually this casual approach to the developmental milestones, kids will get missed. If there is a true developmental delay or disability that is hindering the development of that skill, the child is only going to fall further behind. Because the assumption that the CDC is making here with this big change is that parents would be more likely to take action and seek out early intervention for their child if they don't meet that developmental milestone when 75% of their peers are meeting it. But without adequate knowledge of what the milestones look like before, or without an overall shift in the pediatric community away from the wait and see, and realizing now that any missed milestone may actually be a cause for concern, there could be some serious repercussions from this. There has to be a community and a mindset shift to go with it, not just a shift of the way we're looking at the standards. But this isn't you. You are the informed parent and you're here now. So you're getting the adequate information that you need to support your child through these developmental milestones. So let's move on to the next thing and let's talk about you. What do you do with all of this? Well, I have some great news for you. You are literally already doing it. By being here now, you are doing exactly what your child needs you to do, and that is to be informed about their development so that you can make the best decisions for them. Seriously, if you have concerns about your child's development, I will put a link in the description below for our United States viewers that will help you to find who to contact to get your child evaluated for early intervention services. All you gotta do is call them up, say, hey, I've got some concerns about my child's development and I would like to have them evaluated. Boom. Be an advocate for your child. They can't do that themselves. So you need to be aware as the parent of what the developmental milestones for your child is and when to act early. Continue to be informed, continue to support your child in their development exactly where they are and helping them to learn and grow. You know your child best, so be their best advocate. And especially in the coming months as we see what kind of happens with the speech and language milestones, you'll definitely want to make sure that you are getting the most updated speech and language milestones for your child as well. And if you did come from our developmental milestones series and you're kind of curious how this might change anything that you heard in those videos, know that we still stand by those developmental milestones and the activities in those videos that will help your baby to reach those milestones. And we've always believed and expressed that babies will reach those developmental milestones in a bit of a range. So to quickly address that question, if it is on your mind, how does this apply to everything you've seen in the Developmental Milestones series? Keep enjoying those videos, keep enjoying those activities with your baby. I promise they will still only help your baby and their development. The first and most important thing in any area of your child's development is gonna be you, and it's gonna be the intentional ways that you interact with your baby. So don't fret them as they are. We may choose to in the future to kind of reorganize our developmental milestone videos to better reflect some of the key changes that the CDC has made with their milestone checklists. But for now, keep being intentional with your baby, keep playing with your baby, and you're going to see them thrive. All right, enough from me. Let's hear from you. What are your thoughts? If you're here, you're probably a parent. You've probably got some kids of your own. What are your thoughts about it? Let me know what they are in the comments below. And if you got a friend or a family member that you think could benefit from this clarification on the CDC's new milestone changes, share this video with them and help them to be a more informed parent. You guys, knowledge is power. The intentional parent is an informed parent. So share this with someone that you love and you want them to be informed about these new changes so that they can support the development of their children too. Thank you guys for being here. It is you guys, the intentional parents, that are here focusing on your child's development and how to give them the richest, most fulfilling, well-rounded, lovely life that make up this community. And that's why I love it so much. If you've made it to this point in the video and you're not a part of our YouTube family yet, you just belong with us. Hit subscribe right down there below because this is the place for you. Thank you again for joining us today. I hope at the end of this you feel like you are more informed. Some better tools to help you make informed and intentional decisions for your child, because that is what we do around here. So glad to have you, and we will see you again next time. Bye!